Intellectual Property Rights, IPR, Vertical Bar Unit 1. IPR Origin. The concept of intellectual property rights, IPR, has a long history, with roots dating back to ancient civilizations. Here are some points explaining the origin of IPR. Ancient civilizations, the Greeks and Romans recognized the importance of protecting literary and artistic works, and they granted exclusive rights to authors and artists. Similarly, the Chinese and Indian civilizations recognized the value of protecting inventions and designs. European Enlightenment. During the European Enlightenment in the 17th and 18th centuries, thinkers such as John Locke and Immanuel Kant developed the concept of natural rights, including property rights. This laid the foundation for the modern concept of IPR. Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries saw an explosion in innovation and invention, particularly in the areas of machinery and manufacturing. The need to protect these new ideas and designs led to the development of patent and trademark laws. International treaties. The first international treaty to protect intellectual property was the Paris Convention for the Protection of Industrial Property in 1883. This treaty established a framework for the protection of patents, trademarks, and industrial designs across borders. Development of modern IPR. In the 20th century, the development of new technologies such as computers and the Internet led to the development of new forms of intellectual property, such as software and digital content. This required the development of new laws and regulations to protect these forms of intellectual property. In conclusion, the origin of IPR can be traced back to ancient civilizations, but the modern concept of IPR developed during the European Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. The development of international treaties and the evolution of technology have led to the development of modern IPR laws and regulations. IPR history. Intellectual property rights, IPR, have a long and complex history that dates back to ancient times, where inventors and artists sought to protect their creations from being copied or stolen. However, the development of legal frameworks for the protection of intellectual property rights began in the modern era. Here is a brief overview of the history of IPR according to year from past to present time. Point 1624, the Statute of Monopolies was passed in England, which granted inventors a 14-year monopoly on their inventions. This was the earliest legal framework for protecting intellectual property. Point 1710, the Statute of Anne was passed in England, which established the first comprehensive legal framework for copyright protection. This granted authors and publishers exclusive rights to their works for a specified period. Point 1787, the United States Constitution was adopted, which granted Congress the power to protect the rights of inventors and authors by passing laws that promote innovation and creativity. Point 1790, the United States passed its first patent law, which granted inventors exclusive rights to their inventions for 14 years. Point 1883, the Paris Convention for the Protection of Industrial Property was signed, which created a common framework for the protection of intellectual property rights across borders. This was a significant step towards international recognition of IPR. Point 1886, the Berne Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Works was signed, which established international standards for the protection of copyright. This was another significant step towards international recognition of IPR. Point 1911, the United States established the Patent Cooperation Treaty, PCT, which streamlined the patent application process and allowed inventors to apply for protection in multiple countries simultaneously. Point 1947, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GUT, was signed, which included provisions for the protection of intellectual property rights in international trade. Point 1994, the Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights, TRIPS, was signed, which established minimum standards for the protection of IPR in international trade. This was a significant development in the recognition of IPR as a global issue. Point today, IPR is an integral part of global trade and innovation. The protection of IPR is crucial for incentivizing creativity and innovation, as it allows creators to reap the benefits of their efforts and investments. The history of IPR shows a gradual evolution towards the recognition of the importance of protecting intellectual property, and it is likely to continue to evolve in the future as new technologies and innovations emerge.